You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now, with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
Good morning, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks, one-on-one with Keith Engle. Today's your day. We don't have a guest, so it's going to be Sound Off Friday, and we'll talk a little bit more about how that works in just a quick second. I am going to put up in the comments the link in case anybody comes in early. I wanted to share it. I should have shared it in. I shared a promo for the show a little bit in some of the groups this morning, and we want you guys to be able to kind of come in. Sound off. If you think I am crazy about my take on the Chiefs and the NFL not being fixed or scripted because it's nonsense, then come in and sound off. You got to take on, the betting scandal in the NBA. You got to take on Belichick thinking Lombardi Trophy should be renamed for Brady, which is nonsense, by the way. Whatever it is, I don't care what it is. You got a beef with me. You got a beef with a league, a beef with a player. Keep it clean, and I'll let you speak until you're done, and then maybe I'll report. We'll talk a little about my vacation time as well, and some other stuff going on as we go through this show. So again, we could go an hour, or we could go a little shorter. It depends. I want to welcome everybody watching on Facebook. Are we live on Facebook? We always have to check this, by the way. Let's refresh, and hopefully Facebook is not playing games with us today. Well, we're live. Look at that. Excellent. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We're live on Roku on the National Streaming Sports channel. Make sure you download those channels. Lots of great content there all day, every day. Just got done with the Mac and Jack show, which I'm on every Friday and Sunday. It's a big football show on Sunday. Good morning. Thank you, Rick, for giving me that update. I always got to go check. I think I found out the problem. It's because of when I'm sharing another show and it hasn't ended, I think that's where it's causing a problem. So I stopped my share of the show I'm on necessarily, or might be on, and then I said, haven't had a problem. When I do that, I don't think. But anyway, thanks to the groups that allow me to share, John Gonzalez, the Sports Authorities, Flo and the gang at Bottom Line Sports. Great stuff, great podcast that they do. They do their podcasting on Let's Talk Sports, which is a good friend of the show, and we're allowed to share our stuff on their Facebook page. Who else? Greg Rawlings at America's Pastime, Love for Baseball and More. He's also got football sites, college football sites, some of the best stuff around, guys. Lots of players in his groups as well, former players mostly. Ken Krause at Golf Bud, Sports of All Sorts. And also, of course, a shout out to Ralph Williams at RW Media. He does some great stuff out of Pittsburgh, including the Sports Corner with Smoking Jim Frazier every Tuesday from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. I've been a guest on that show myself and have a lot of fun with those guys all the time. Anytime I'm on, I should say. And SeatGeeks, you saw the commercial before, or you'll see it if you rewatch this show. Download this app. You see it right there. Just scan it. Download the app. I don't care if you ever buy. Just download the app. That does me a favor, by the way. And if you ever want to get a ticket to a game, there's no better or a concert, whatever it might be, no better place to go than SeatGeeks, especially at the last minute. My thanks to Jim Beringer, who came in last week, and we talked about the National Hockey League, got us all caught up. Jim will be coming on. We're going to set up a regular time for Jim on Fridays. It looks like, I know this is the last Friday, but we didn't do it this time. And by the way, our condolences to Jim and his family as he lost his dad this past weekend. And we all, I know I speak for all of my listeners and those that follow Jim and those that don't follow Jim. Our condolences go out to Jim and his Uh, I'll get that done right now, Linda. We always seem to have a problem here and there. So we aren't live at the moment on Roku, but we're going to be in just a second. Thank you, Linda. But again, our condolences go out to Jim Behringer and his family. Never easy to lose a parent. Never easy to lose anybody, right? So Jim will be joining us every Friday, every last Friday of the month. And we'll be catching up on hockey. We'll still do this format where you get to come in and sound off on any topic that you want. And we'll also get caught up on the NHL, as I said. So hopefully you guys will jump in. Jim, Rick, I know that you probably are unable. Hopefully you would if you were in a position to come in and sound off on something. I know you have strong feelings about a lot of topics that we talk about, quitters among them. But we can talk about anything. Chiefs, and we can talk about the games last week. You can rant about the Bills getting robbed by the Chiefs, which they did not, by the way. They caused their own problems. If I have to do a monologue, thank you, Linda says we're all set. Thank you for pointing that out, Linda. If I have to do a monologue, we'll talk a lot about that Chiefs situation, and we'll talk about some other stuff. But we got that. We got the Super Bowl coming up. We've got Belichick saying the Lombardi Trophy should be renamed for Brady. Please, Bill, stop. I can't read that. A stupid fan activity. We had a fan die in Philadelphia last week after he fell, I think, from a light pole. Alonzo, has he really screwed himself here with the Mets and getting a big term contract? The NBA betting issues. I mentioned Rozier now being investigated for his poor performance in a game in 2023. This is the problem with and these are a couple of things. If I've got to rant a little bit today, it's going to be. It looks like it's going to be. I'll be talking a lot about the Chiefs and the BS nonsense about fixing games and how the Bills shot themselves in the foot. And we'll talk about this betting and how these things are fueled by the fact that leagues are in bed with gambling sites, in my mind. And then there's the realities of there being some actual issues. We saw it in college last year with Temple. We saw it now with Porter last year in the NBA. We see it now with Rozier. Whether, again, and these stories break, and whether they're real or they're not, we have to talk about them. Justin Tucker, we can talk about the allegations. 6 women have said that he inappropriately approached them, whatever we want to use. I can't be a hypocrite, man. I was all over Deshaun Watson. I'm not giving Justin Tucker a pass here. If it was 1 woman, I'd say let's wait. If it was 2, I'd say let's wait. If it's 6, there starts to be a fire burning. So we can talk about all of that. Looks like you broke your losing streak on fantasy and pick'em with a soon playoff pick'em win. Thank you, Rick. Yes, I've had a couple of tough years when it comes to at least in Drew's leagues, and even in my leagues, I guess with pick'ems. Fantasy baseball, I did well in some other leagues, but not Drew's, unfortunately. So yes, we've had a good playoff run. Which Mac has not brought up. I know he brought up that Pags and I are fighting for the National Streaming. the National Streaming Sports Professional Football Show, Big Football Show Championship. I don't know what our records are. He assumed I'm taking the Chiefs, which is accurate, by the way, and that Pags, of course, will take his Eagles. Unlike Pags, I shouldn't say this. I don't know about Pags, so I won't throw him in here. If I lose on the Chiefs, I will not be crying foul. I never once. And again, guys, I want anybody who comes in, and I know we got a small crowd yet this morning, and if so, we'll jump into some other topics. We got some housekeeping to do about my vacation, and what we'll do show-wise coming up. So I'll let you know as I'm traveling from the 6th of February until the 18th. we're back, and then I've got work obligations in the office the day I get back. So probably through I guess it's the 21st. We'll have some adjustments in shows, and I'll go through the dates, and we'll cover that, and then I'll post it on the site too, so everybody knows what's going on. But Rick, if you're available, I know you do some therapy, physical therapy, just to be clear. And it's not to share too much. I know Rick has some things he does on Friday mornings, but if you ever want to come in on this rant show and this sound off show, you're welcome to do so, because I know you got some strong opinions about lots of things. Some we agree on, some we don't. The other thing was the tush push, right? A lot of people screaming to have it removed, and the Eagles are the only ones that can seem to do it right, by the way. You saw the Bills fail at it miserably against the Chiefs. Should it be eliminated? And at Washington, the Redskins did everything they could to make a mockery of the game the other day by continuing to, have neutral zone infractions. So the ball just kept moving inches and inches and inches closer. And we found out there's a rule in the NFL where the officials eventually can award a touchdown. I never knew about this rule. Nick Sirianni is the one who reported to the officials that, remember, you can award a touchdown. Not a big Nick Sirianni fan. I don't know that it should be eliminated or not. Good morning, Dave Guyette. You're welcome to come on. If you got a rant today, too, just click any one of the links. If you don't see the comments, I'll put it in again. I know it kind of screws things up here a little bit, but we're going to put the link in again. All you got to do is click that link, and if you can't click it, you can copy and paste it into your browser, and it will bring you into the green room, and you'll be able to come in and rant about whatever you want. And I'll be quiet until you're done. Just tell me you're done. But I hope we can chat about that. So, Dave, if you want to come in and talk about your Syracuse Orangemen, we're stinking up the joint in college basketball. Adrian Autry hasn't done very well, unfortunately, in his first 2 years. This year has been a really, really bad. I'm not sure he's going to survive this year. He'll survive this year, but I don't know if he's going to be back next year. He might get one more run at it. But Syracuse has been hurt so bad by the realignment and the move to the ACC and the death of the Big East. It's been kind of sad. But Syracuse football looks good. You can come in and talk about the Yankees, Dave, and what you think about them. Just give me a little, you can give me some, sound off material. For me, the Chiefs, the number one topic for me that is ridiculous, and I'm so tired of this on social media. Social media is so far screwed up. And by the way, I'm on some UK sites with podcasters and with football sites. In fact, I shared this promo for this show, trying to get a few people to come from the UK. We know Michael Gott comes from the UK. Michael, if you come through today, you're welcome to come on the show. If you're out there watching somewhere. But the hysteria about the Chiefs and the league fixing games, officials favoring the Chiefs, is so blown out of proportion. There's a difference between bad officiating, which, by the way, there's plenty of bad officiating. The two calls in the Texans games for quarterback roughing were ridiculous. I'm not arguing that. But that doesn't automatically allow you to make the leap to games are fixed or scripted. That's just stupid. That's tinfoil hat thinking. By the way, Josh Allen has had more roughing the quarterbacks called for him since they've come into the league, him and Mahomes, than Patrick Mahomes. Last week, you want to focus on the Chiefs game last week. A lot of talk about the catch. Well, look, that could have gone either way. It was called a catch. If it wasn't called a catch, they would not have reversed it either. We see this every day in football. Now, these games are more under a microscope and more, the stakes are bigger, if you will. Good teams get good calls. It was called a catch. Worthy, I think it was Worthy, made a great job to take it away from the defender. He had it intercepted. And the other thing people forget about is there was also a holding call, defensive holding call right in front of the play. They would have had the ball anyway at the 20-yard line, first down. I don't know that they wouldn't have scored anyway. Number one. Number two, the Chiefs' play calling was the Bills' play calling was atrocious. You kept going with the tush push when it wasn't working. You're chasing points early. By the way, when they went for the first down, which I am not sure, there's no way you can convince me that was 100% a first down. Again, wasn't called the first down. And people talk about the guy running in from the top of the screen was running past. But if you notice, as he got over, he moved more and more to his left, which was short of the line. I have not seen one definitive shot. And there's a shot from overhead that I think is the most definitive. The ball never reached the line. Take all that out of consideration. They should have been ahead by 3 when they're doing that. Because McDermott decides to chase points early in the game. 20-16, he's going for 2. I get it. You're down a field goal. There's a whole half of football to play, which caused them to chase a point again, and they didn't get it. Which caused the Chiefs to go for 2 at one point, when they should have, by the way. But that all led to, number one, the Bills would have had a lead when they had that 4th and short, and maybe they kick a field goal. If everything plays out the same. And again, that's a leap too. I get it. But let's just assume in this situation, it would have played out very close to the same. The Chiefs would have been kicking to tie the game, not win the game when they kicked their last field goal. You know, I mean, look at these, and here's the thing. You know why the Chiefs win football games? Because they're really good. They're really good in close games, not because of the frickin' referees. I got off a conversation with a guy, and I'm sorry, I'm going to start using his name. I may not. I try not to engage him. And if you're watching, Matt, please come in on the show. If you watch us later, come in the show live when I can bring you on here and try and troll me then. I cut him off last night. This guy likes to send me notes, ask me questions, trolling for my answer, right? Ask me who I thought would win. We talked about this. Then he throws in, and the refs will help the Chiefs win. That's all he wanted to get out. He wanted to. He does this with me all the time. He asks me questions about the Yankees, and I answer, and then, it's all so he can get his opinion out. Well, come on this show and give your opinion. Watch the show and get my opinion. Stop bothering me. And guys, this is not for you, Rick, Paul. My normal viewers who message me privately or we talk in the group, I'm fine with that. Matt, you want to get in the group? You just tell me. These guys will probably eat you alive. But I'm done with you trolling me. I cut your conversation. I said, if you want to talk football, which he engaged me under the premise he wanted to talk about football. And then he wanted to get his opinion out about how the refs cheat for the Chiefs. And I said, look, if you want to talk football, fine. Otherwise, good night. And he made one more comment, and I said good night. He'd asked me a question about the Carnival Valencia, which I would have been happy to answer for him. But I was done talking to him because he's going on it. I've been on it twice in the last year and love the ship. And I've talked to him about it before. But he engages these passive-aggressive little ways of trying to troll me and get me into an argument, and I'm sick of it. And by the way, I can't think of a time I've ever been wrong, not to pat myself on the back, because you guys know more than anybody, when I'm wrong, I come back here and the tapes don't disappear. I'm not Mike Francesa from WFAN. I'm not the Mad New Yorker where I conveniently forget what I said months before, or the tapes disappear. My shows and my comments stay here forever. If I ever don't admit I was wrong about something, please go back and find the tape and show me, because I want to correct my mistakes. But I'm right all the time with this guy. He loved Carlos Rendon. I said he would suck in New York because he's never been able to pitch in a big spot. He's injury prone. And I didn't think he'd be able to handle New York. I was right about all of it. Did he admit he was wrong? No, never once. When he asked me another question and he told me I was going to be wrong, I can't remember what that was about. Oh, Soto. Talk about, he was going on about the Yankees had to sign Soto. And I said, I don't care if he comes back or not. It's a one-dimensional player. I don't care. He's a great hitter. We can make this team better overall without him here. And he disagreed and argued with me. And then as soon as Soto signed, we didn't want him anyway. Just stop. And that's why maybe he doesn't come on the show, because I pride myself on having the smartest audience in podcasting. Sometimes I got to straighten you guys out, but I'm afraid to read this comment, Dave, because I just saw Taylor Swift, so I'm a little afraid to read it. I'm sure Taylor Swift will be at the Super Bowl. Of course she will. How many times do you think be shown during the game? It doesn't matter. Again, here's the thing, Dave. And I get where you're coming from. And I was there when this all started. There was too much of it. There are people now that time how much she's on. She doesn't even get 20 seconds of airtime in 3.5 hours of football. I don't care about Taylor Swift. It doesn't matter to me. I'm rooting for the Chiefs. As a Patriot fan, most Patriot fans hate what's going on in Kansas City. Me, because they don't want to win the third Super Bowl in a row, which we were unable to do, along with some other teams. They don't want Patrick Mahomes to win 6 Super Bowls, which he's got very good potential to do. But I root for good stories. I'm doing a podcast here. I want good stories. The Chiefs winning a third Super Bowl would be a great story. The Chiefs are a great team. You know why the Chiefs are a great team? They got the best owner in football right now. I'm sorry, Bob Kraft. They got the best owner in football. They got the best coach in football. They got the best quarterback in football. They got the best defensive coordinator in football. And they know how to win. Good morning, William Akins. You're welcome to come in. If you want to have a rant, you want to come out. There's some links to William, you shared a podcast. Was that your podcast the other day, by the way? Because you didn't look the same in there, and I never seen you without a hat and glasses. But I think it was you. I'm not sure. If it wasn't, I apologize. I guess I don't need to apologize. But you're welcome to come on and give me a sound off today or debate any of the topics. Well, we don't have to debate. You could agree with me. We can talk about the Chiefs bullshit. Oh, sorry. So you're welcome to come on. There's a link in there. So anyway, about Taylor Swift, I'm over it. I don't care. They show her in the stands for 2 seconds. I could care less. I just don't pay attention. I had a big problem with it, Dave. I'm just over it. That's all. And I did read a good human interest story about how Taylor Swift and her interest in football helped the dad and his daughter have something to bond over. I'm okay. I thought it was a good human interest story that I read last year after I'd been and this is a place where I've admitted I felt I was wrong because of this story, basically. I was adamant. I hated it. And some of my Kenny Gifford, I think, told me I was wrong, and why should we care? It was good for the NFL. It brought people in, and I thought, baloney. But it does, and I read this human interest story about a dad and his daughter who had nothing in common, didn't bond over anything, and they started bonding over Chiefs football games, and it was a cool story. And I'm supposed to got to see Taylor Swift for about 20 seconds, so I'm over it. If you'd like to pop in, Dave, you can certainly do it. Did I say hello to you, William? Hello, William. If you got a topic you want to sound off on, William, I do have the links above you. If you scroll back through the comments, if you can't see them, I'll put it up again. I would like to know, William, if that is your podcast that I saw the other day. Notification came up in my feed, and I went and I checked it out, and I kind of look like you might look without glasses and a hat. And I know you were talking about Pittsburgh stuff, so I think it was you. It was good. It was good stuff, by the way, if it was you. So appreciate you coming in today. And if you want to pop in here and go on a rant about anything, you can talk about Pittsburgh. Are the Pirates ever going to win? What are the Steelers doing with about quarterback? They're not. The talk is they're bringing back Fields or Wilson, but not both. Should they be interested in Darnold? Should they draft a quarterback? Can they draft a quarterback? Anyway, if you're willing to talk about that, pop in. I just got through going off a rant about the Chiefs and how these games are not fixed. They're not scripted. Stop. Don't watch the games, guys. If you think it's an entertainment league and that bothers you, I don't watch the WWE. I did in my 20s when it was fun. But it grew old. It grew very, very old. And I stopped watching it. And people who bet on games and then still say they're fixed, what's wrong with you? I mean, you're either a degenerate gambler or stupid. Or both. So I just turned on my rant here. You usually get two or three or sometimes four people to come in and sound off, and hopefully we'll get that today. If we don't, we don't. Not a big deal. He's happy to talk for an hour if you can stand listening to me for that long. I don't know if William took off right away or not. I really wanted to find out if that was his podcast. And if it is yours, William, please send me the link in a private chat so that I can follow the show, because I didn't do it that day. And I just changed it. I was getting way too many notifications from Facebook for some reason. I changed my settings, and I don't want to miss it. I want to be able to kind of catch it. I like to, especially the people who come here and contribute like you do, JB, the Back It Up podcast, Flo from Bottom Line Sports. I like to promote you guys and follow your shows and watch when I can. But William, you got anything Pittsburgh or even nationally sports oriented you want to talk about? Please do. You're kind of on the Chiefs. I guess kind of piggybacking off the Chiefs controversy, the BS about the refs fixing the games. Just stop, okay? I'm going to have to say that over and over again. Just stop. I get where some of the hysteria comes from, right? Part of it is the fact that these leagues, including the NFL, are so far in bed with the gambling sites that it makes people wonder. And then you have scandals like we have in the NBA with Porter last year, and now Rozier with the Heat, embroiled in FBI investigating a game he was involved in. Oh, I put it there. Didn't you get? I just put it right there. I'm going to put it in again. Are you on? You're on Facebook, right? You should get it. So you should be able to click that link there, William, and pop in. There's a boatload of them before you came in. If you're not seeing it, I can send you I can send it to you in Messenger if you want to pop in. How about I do that? Just for the heck of it. If I can find you quickly. Crap. I'm on nothing ever happens quickly in the world of technology for Keith. I want to get William in here. We'll let him promote his podcast a little bit, do a little rant. I'm going to try to send this to you in a messenger in case if I can do it fast enough and not eat up my entire show. We got to talk about some vacation stuff before I get done today. Come on. Are you really kidding me now? Now you're not going to load my messenger? Appears we have a little... oh, there we go. William? Where are you, William? We are friends on Facebook, aren't we? There you are. I'm going to send you this link in your messenger in case you didn't get it. There. All right, William, check your messenger. I want to see if you come in. If you're going to ask my regular questions, after 47 years, it shouldn't offend anyone. Craziest teammates player, who got the most out of their talent? We asking that question too. Oh, you're asking me? This is a good one, Rick. I like this. My craziest teammate was definitely Scotty Jackson, without a doubt. Scott was a great ball player, great defensive player, hustled. But Scott would do some crazy things. He would just like run over first base. And if you're watching Scott, I love you to death. And Scott did some crazy things off the field too. So we had a lot of fun. Players who got the most out of their talent. And again, I'm sticking with baseball because that was my sport. Again, I might even put myself in this category, quite frankly, because I was not talented. I didn't have the and William, I did put that in your private chat on Facebook if you want to check that out. I wasn't blessed with raw talent. I had to work. I didn't start in Little League. I wasn't very good, and I played every day in the backyard, made myself better until I was an outfielder, and Roger Gifford made me a shortstop out of nowhere. And it was a work in progress. And by the time I got done, I was pretty good. And it was all through hard work. But again, I'll take myself out of it a little bit. I had the same problem, William. I see that. I don't know why you're not seeing it in the comments, though. That's what's really weird. Rick, do you see that in the comments, by the way? Do you see those likes? I mean, I post these. There's like 3 of them that pop up. TGI Sports Talk. It's that link in the comments. Anyway, player outside of me, Mark Hobson was a guy who I would say got a lot out of his talent, for sure. I mean, some of the guys were just crazy raw talents, right? Tim Ostrowski, Darren, Ryan, even Scott to a certain extent. Maybe Scott was maybe a grinder too, like myself, but he had more raw talent than I did. Rich Edwards was really good. Rich, if you're watching today, Rich was really, really a good defensive ball player. He's quick. So yeah, those would be that. And who did not meet their talent? That's interesting. Well, one guy didn't meet his talent because of circumstances. So it's not because of anything he did. Dick Keeling was a great athlete. I know he would have contributed to the multi-championship teams that we had in my years at Perth playing baseball. And I know he played football and basketball as well. And Dickie had a tragic accident. Dick tunes into the show sometimes, and I hope you're watching today, Rick, Dick, and I hope you're doing well. But he was a tremendous athlete, but he couldn't meet up to his talent because of this tragic event in his life. Guys, so 47 years, they shouldn't offend anybody. I don't know. Billy Gutowski, I think, again, Billy, if you're watching, my apologies. Billy had some really good talent, but not professional talent. And I know that Billy blames Roger Gifford to this day that he didn't make the major leagues, but that's not the case. Here's William. We'll get William in just a second. So who else? But there's a few. That's a great question, Rick. And it was interesting that you brought it to me. I didn't think back. I mean, again, you're right. It's 47 years ago, and I'm 17, 18 years old. So today so William's been popping into our podcast for a few months now and has contributed. And I, again, happened upon a podcast the other day that I'm positive it was Richard because it came from his feed, but wasn't like a share of a show. So I think it was William Akins. I might have just said Richard.
Hey, good morning, Keith. How you doing?
Awesome. It's great to have you with us this morning. So before I let you go off on a rant, which you're welcome to do, this was your podcast, and now I can tell without the glasses and hat from your profile picture that was you that I saw.
Yeah. I've been doing our Pittsburgh show for oh boy, almost 4 years now.
It,
So
it was great, and do me a favor when you can send me the link to
okay,
the if you could
yeah.
in Messenger just so that I have it because I like to follow the people that follow me, and it was really good what I watched the other night. You guys were really good, and you did a lot of good stuff. So
Well,
good job there.
well, thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, I love your stuff too. I always tune in whenever you're on Sunday mornings, and whenever I can get on. I love watching your stuff, Keith.
Well,
So,
we appreciate that, and I like to let guys promote their shows that come into mine. So don't ever be afraid to put a little link up to your show when you come in the comments or whatever it might be, and we'll put it. I'll put it on my site, my web pages as well. So
yeah.
anyway, what is on Williams' mind this morning?
Well, I know Mike Tomlin's down at the Senior Bowl, and it's funny. I like to listen to Pat Kerwin and Jimmy Miller on Moving the Chains and Sirius XM in the afternoons. But they were talking about the needs of the Steelers, and obviously, they need a quarterback. We need a franchise quarterback. Uh, we're probably going to need a running back, wide out. They've been neglecting that for how long? Offensive tackles, cornerbacks. But isn't it funny that Mike Tomlin, that Jimmy Miller was talking, he said, yeah, Mike Tomlin has been spending a lot of time in the defensive line, and it's like that's an area where, I think we're okay at that area, but man, I want to see him in these other positions. We need to, especially wide out. We've been neglecting wide out. How many times, you get rid of Deontay Johnson and you really don't have a backup plan? We're seeing now with Pickens not panning out. Guy needs to mature, but it's just, I don't know. Not that and then Art Rooney obviously has his end of season presser, and really not a lot. I mean, last year they were 10-7 as well, and I don't know, not much difference in the tone and what he said in this press conference. Pretty much regurgitated what he said last year. So, but I don't know. It's not looking good. We got a quarterback problem, Keith. We got a quarterback problem. I don't know. I don't know if either guy's the answer really. So
No, I'm going to guess not. Let me start with Tomlin because I'll ask you a couple of questions here on here because we'll focus on the Pittsburgh stuff. And I hear a lot of Pittsburgh stuff because I communicate with Ralph Williams, who is located in Pittsburgh. Yep. There's a lot of Pittsburgh oriented stuff, but and I know he's not a big Mike Tomlin fan. He thinks time has run out on Mike Tomlin. Do you? Yep. I mean, to me, just to preface my question a little bit, one of the most, I think, telling, because it's been a successful franchise, won a lot of Super Bowls and been competitive for decades, except for a handful of seasons. And you've had three coaches. That's one of the most remarkable runs in my lifetime. Is in nearly 60 years, you've had three coaches.
Right.
But is it time that Mike Tomlin moves on? Have they stopped? They need a new voice.
Well, I mean, if you ask me, I think so. I mean, not having a losing or never having a losing season. I mean, what does that get you? I mean, not having won a playoff game since 2016. I don't know. That's pretty tough. Hey, you know what, Keith? Whenever you look at it, compare Mike Tomlin's coaching record with Mike McCarthy's. It's practically identical, Keith.
Yeah.
And yet Mike McCarthy gets lambasted. He's Mike Tomlin's put on this pedestal that he's such a great coach. He's such a leader of men. Well, here we go. Another early first round playoff exit. I don't know. I mean, that would get most coaches fired in the league. I'm just saying, not having a losing season doesn't cut it for me. I mean, you've got to be able to take that next step. And he has won a Super Bowl, but that was eons ago. So
Yeah, he's lived off that for a long time. I mean, that was
Right.
like his second year, third year at best.
Yeah, it was the second year. Yeah.
And he's been to another Super Bowl and lost, I believe.
Yeah.
So
2010 against the Packers. Yeah.
that's also 15 years ago. At some point,
Right.
you're right. At some point, you have to produce. And, listen, he had Ben Roethlisberger for a long time. And, yeah, you won a Super Bowl and lost a Super Bowl with him.
Yep.
But you got to be able to win. You got to keep your job. You saw with Bill Belichick, right? And I don't believe the whole Bill Belichick was nothing without Tom Brady, because great coaches always have great quarterbacks. Chuck Noll never won anything without Terry Bradshaw.
Right.
Never won anything without Montana.
Right.
But at some point, your quarterback you've got to have a quarterback. You're right. I think Justin Fields didn't play any better or worse than Russell Wilson last year.
No. He was 4-2, and he. I tell you what, Keith, he really took care of the football too, and not a lot of turnovers, which is something he struggled with in Chicago. But that was I'd like somebody to ask him. Mike Tomlin said he was out on an island when he made that switch to Russell Wilson. I'd like a media member to ask him about that and kind of really pry him, like, why did you make that decision? I mean, I don't know. It's just,
that's a great point. Somebody should ask him a question. But there's another thing about Mike Tomlin I've noticed. I've always kind of and again, I'm not as close to that situation as people in Pittsburgh, obviously. But over the years, I've had an admiration for Tomlin because it felt like the organization was very consistent.
Right.
But as you said, they haven't won in a while. But one problem I have, especially the last couple of years, whenever Mike Tomlin gets asked a question he doesn't like, he just walks off the leaves.
Yep.
Is it as prevalent as what it looks like? Because it appears like it's every couple of weeks he just leaves.
Yeah, I mean, and kudos to some of these media guys that ask him the hard questions. But yeah, I mean, if it's something that's that he doesn't like or doesn't feel, or I don't know, maybe he doesn't know how to answer it. He just kind of like, okay, it's time to bail out. It's time to leave the podium. But I don't know. There's just, to me, Keith, there's been too much mediocrity for far too long.
Yeah.
I mean, you lost your last 5. I mean, come on, that was bad. I mean, and to lose the way they lost. I mean, all those games they lost by double digits. And that's just, to me, that's just not acceptable. I mean, it's okay. You haven't had a losing season. Okay. But you haven't won a playoff game since 2016. That's a long time ago.
That's a long time. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. The only 2 guys on that roster that were there was Cam Hayward and Chris Boswell. Poor TJ Watt. This guy may never win a playoff game. I mean, it's just, if you ask me, I think they ought to do him right and say, hey, where do you want to go? We'll make it happen. Wherever you want to go, we'll make it happen. But
if you were the GM for a day and could make 2 changes for next year, who would be the head coach and who would your quarterback be going into next year?
Oh boy.
Now the guy's got to be available, quite frankly. So
yeah, well. Geez, that's a tough one. Who would I like as head coach? Somebody that comes, I guess, to mind first would be Mike McCarthy, because he's a Greenfield native, right? He's a native of Greenfield, a Pittsburgh section of Pittsburgh, Irish section of Pittsburgh. Like I said, him and Tomlin practically have mirrored coaching records.
The last 5 years have been better than what Tomlin's done. Games 3 years in a row, and that's not terrible.
Well, he beat Tomlin in the Super Bowl too. He was the coach of the Packers then. Yeah, but I think I would. Well, number one, I would go out. I would change head coach. Number 2, I would try to get a T. Higgins. I would try to go out and just, look at it. I mean, like I said, you let Deontay Johnson walk, and then you really have no backup plan. There was tons of, we were talking on our Pittsburgh show. I don't know how many times we said, oh, this guy's available. Up, they could get this guy. Up, they could make this happen. Nope, it came and went. And we kept saying, hey, that's they need to address this. They haven't addressed it for a long time. And like I said, if you're going to get rid of Deontay Johnson, at least have a backup plan. And they had none. And that was the issue I had. So.
Who would be your quarterback? Would you go after one of the free? Is Sam Darnold? Are we going to take a chance on Sam Darnold, who I think was just a product of the system and the environment he was in this year? Myself,
yeah, I don't know if I do that, Keith. I think I think the time for stopgappers is over. Like I mean, in essence, Justin Fields is kind of that way. I heard about Stafford. Stafford's could be available as well. I don't think he would go to the Steelers. I mean, when you think about it, this guy, played indoors in Detroit, right? Played indoors in LA. Do you think he's going to want to go to the Steelers? I don't know.
I don't think he wants to play December games in Pittsburgh outdoors.
No, I don't think he would either. He was from Texas too. He played. He played his. He went to Georgia.
Georgia.
I don't think he's. He's played. His entire career, at least at home, indoors. Do you think he's going to want to, like you said, it's cold here in Pittsburgh. It's cold here right now. It's been cold. We get snow. We get that, if you've been to Acrisure, I still call it Heinz Field. You get that swirling wind in there, man. It's treacherous. You got that wind coming off the river. It's. So do you think he's going to want to go and face those elements at his he's going to be 37, I think, next week.
He will be, I believe, 37. Yeah. Yes, he's not young in this sport unless you're Tom Brady. Nobody's they got 37. So
hey, I'm hearing, Keith, that Jackson Dart has there's a lot of at least in local media here that he could be the next quarterback. I mean, I guess Mike Tomlin really likes him, and you know what? Hey, if Mike Tomlin likes a guy, generally they try to make it happen. I mean, you have to have the stars aligned in the draft in order to do that, but who knows?
I like Dart.
I do too.
His profile is really increased in the last year, and he's a guy you can get as a value pick because you're not going to have to draft him, not even in the first round. You could probably day 2, maybe even day 3, you might be able to get Jackson Dart. And I think that's the kind of guy. Too many teams, I say this all the time, William, too many people or teams chase quarterbacks they shouldn't chase early in the draft. Be the top 10. These two guys this year, Ward, I watched Cam Ward a lot. I'm a Miami fan and through marriage, to just be clear. Cam Ward is a nice college quarterback. He may make it. He's not a guy I would waste a top 10 pick on. It's too big a gamble, and certainly not Shadur Sanders. So there's no sure things here, but there's some value guys that you can get later in the draft. I think Jackson Dart's a good example. I think Kyle McCord is a guy who I think will has a potential to make it in this league, and you'll get him 4th, 5th round. And there's a few other guys too. So
Will Howard maybe even too. I mean, Will Howard, so.
Yep, he'll be a back of the draft. Will Howard might be a Tom Brady type pick. 6th round, all comes out of nowhere. Nobody wants him. There's going to be a guy. And Purdy actually is even a good example of a guy nobody wanted, obviously. Even more Brady. He hasn't had that success yet, but he's done fairly well. So Pickens, before I let you go, Pickens, doesn't this guy don't they need to part ways with this guy?
Well, you know what? We had Ray Fittipaldo on our show a couple weeks ago. He's the beat writer for the Steelers for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. And, we were talking about that. And I always use the term, is the juice worth the squeeze? The guys always get on me. Oh, that's your number one catchphrase. I said, well, you know what? It plays, there's a lot of times where you say to yourself, is the juice worth the squeeze? Pickens, I tell you what, this guy has a buku amount of talent, but he had this problem in Georgia, Keith. He was well known for his immaturity and just, not being a team guy and just, his antics. They should have known this when they drafted him. They should have known that this was going to happen. Now, I tell you what, when you look at it, Mike Tomlin hasn't done a real good job of keeping these guys in check, i.e., obviously Antonio Brown, Chase Claypool, Martavius Bryant. I can go on and on and on about some of these guys who have been, problem children in the locker room. But I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, he's going into his last year of his contract. It's pretty much, I don't know. It's pretty. If you don't sign him, he's going to pout. He's going to create. If you do sign him, then now you're stuck with him. I don't know. I mean, he had some bad games this year. That Cincinnati game late in the year, it was terrible. He had 5 drops. I was who was it that I was hearing? They were talking about how his route running was terrible, and
was that the game in the snow? He was bitching about the snow, and they would have beat us if it didn't snow. Or was that Cleveland?
That was Cleveland. And then how about that? He gets into a fight with I forget the defensive back. The guy's just he's a problem child. And Mike Tomlin, he needs to grow up. Well, yeah, Mike, he needs to grow up. Do you think he's ever going to do it? I don't know. The jury's still out on that. But like I say it, the juice isn't worth the squeeze to me.
Yeah. It's a problem with being a player's coach, right? Because eventually, when you're a player's coach, players take advantage of it. It happens almost every. I think that happened to Pete Carroll in Seattle, the same kind of thing.
Right.
And then you got to get a guy in there to kick some ass, and then maybe things change. So
yeah.
Well, William,
their wideout room is they really need to address this, and they've needed to address it for a long time, and they haven't done it. So.
Well, we'll see what happens. William, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you coming into the show every time you do and contributing. And give a little plug for your show now, and then send me the link, please. Tell us when it's on and where we can catch it.
Yeah, so I do a bunch of shows. I do the Pittsburgh Sports Desk every Wednesday, 8 p.m. It's on. We have our own. It's the Pittsburgh Sports Desk in YouTube, our own YouTube channel. We're on Let's Talk Sports. We're on Spitballin' Sports. We just got on Stream Punk. Actually, will be Stream Punk Entertainment. Will be on. We'll be having them on board next week. So, and then I do a Gridiron Weekly every Thursday with myself and John Rustino and Ed from the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. We do that. We've had some guests on. Zig Fracasse's joined us a couple times. He's going to come on again and talk. I think we might have him on soon. Actually, John Rustino's childhood friends with him, so it kind of works out nice. But and then I do a soccer show. We do a soccer show every Saturday morning. We'll be doing that. It's called Stoppage Time. I do a show with another show with John Rustino and Jim Behringer, hockey show on Tuesday night. Yeah, Puckett. Yeah. So I'm a busy guy with the podcast. Ed and I actually with Stream Punk, we now have press credentials, so we're going to be covering the Riverhounds. So we'll be going down every home game for the USL team, Riverhounds, Pittsburgh Riverhounds. We'll be down every home game, and we might make some road trips too to cover them away. But we'll be part of the press covering. So got to get your feet wet somehow, right? So.
That's right. Good stuff. Great.
Yeah, but I mean, we're on, like I said, YouTube. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook, Spitballin', Let's Talk Sports, Stream Punk, Spotify. We're everywhere. So
stuff. Keep up the good work and keep popping in and sharing your insight with us, and that we always enjoy it. So
absolutely, Keith. And like I said, I really enjoy your stuff. I love it. It's you really have a lot of great insight and very knowledgeable, very entertaining, and I love your stuff, Keith. So
thank you. And I say this all the time, and I don't know if you've heard me say it, but I use the old Billy Packer axiom. I'm sometimes wrong, but never in doubt. That's that's how my opinions go, right?
Hey, that's what you got to do. Yeah.
I appreciate you coming in. You have a great weekend, and we'll chat with you soon. Maybe we'll see you Sunday morning.
Thanks, Keith. Thanks for having me, brother. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
William Aiken. So catch his stuff out. I'll be sharing his links and stuff on my Facebook pages. I'll share it on my personal page and on the TGI Sports Talk page. So good stuff. Rick, you did have a good point. I didn't put it up when he was there only because he kind of did talk about the fact that, you know, they're even though he talked about liking Mike McCarthy, you know, their careers are very similar in the fact that, yes, he's had some early exits. But listen, I do talk a lot about winning is the ultimate goal, right? But there's something to be said when you go into a tough situation like Dallas and you win 12 games 3 years in a row. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Just to I'll do some housekeeping here before we wrap it up. We'll be on at 3:00 with the MLB update, our last one for a little bit because of vacation. So right now, Sunday Stream of Consciousness will continue as uninterrupted. So we'll be on live from the studio this Sunday. And then on Sunday, let me get some dates for you guys. So Sunday, because I don't know the dates. Sunday the 9th and Sunday the 16th will be live from the Caribbean with the Sunday Stream of Consciousness. So that will go on as scheduled. This week, the college sports huddle. We're out of football season, so we'll get back to college sports huddle for now. We'll be on live in studio this Wednesday and likely preempted, or we'll fill the time on Roku with something. If Mac and Linda are listening, we'll fill that time on Wednesday nights with something, either encore shows or whatever it might be. It's hard to do encore shows in that because we're talking about stuff in real time, but we'll fill that with something. It's too hard to do Wednesday night, so I won't be on the professional sports show on National Streaming Sports on Wednesdays after this week for 2 Wednesdays because I get back on Wednesday the 19th, but I'm in the office and not working from home, and we'll be out at night Wednesday, Thursday. So that's Wednesdays. Fridays, next Friday we'll do the next 3 Fridays because probably not going to be able to do a show on the 21st either. So the 7th, the 14th, and 21st will be encore presentations of interviews. We'll probably play Don Beebe. We'll probably play Wesley Walker. And I think we'll play, I don't know. I'll decide. Maybe Billy Sample was really good too. They're all good. All the guys I've had on recently are really good. Jim Graziano was really good. So we'll replay some of those. There'll be some encore presentations on the Friday morning shows. I will not be doing, I might do Mac and Jack where I can get on Fridays and Sundays. I don't know. And the MLB show will get preempted most likely. We'll fill that with some spots as well. So shows you can watch for Sunday mornings will be live, and I'll post all this on the Facebook page as well, so everybody knows. We're not going to stop the Sunday show. We have a lot of fun doing that. We got the Super Bowl to talk about, my first Sunday on the high seas, so we'll talk about that, and then we'll have to recap it as well. Maybe we have an impromptu show during that week before the Sunday Stream of Consciousness to kind of talk about that result, because I'm sure it'll be very controversial and it will be fixed and scripted. Please, all you tinfoil hat guys, get over it. Anyway, guys, I appreciate it. William, I thank you for coming in and sounding off today. Rick, I appreciate your input. All of you that will watch this show later and all the groups that allow me to share, I appreciate it. I'll be back later with the MLB update, our last one for a bit. We'll talk about that on that show as well. So next 3 Friday mornings, encore presentations. You won't get to see this mug or hear these sultry tones for a while. You guys have a great Friday. We'll see you at 3:00, or we'll see you Sunday morning. Bye-bye.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
You're listening to Keith Engle, the host of TGI Sports Talk on the National Streaming Sports Roku channel.